It's a good football team coming in. I mean, if you got to watch college football Saturday, namely in our league, which I got to on Saturday night. I mean, that was a great football game between Wyoming and Fresno. Wyoming obviously showed how good of a football team they are. So I think that's what our league is from top to bottom. It's very competitive. San Jose State had Boise down 17-0. Boise found a way to fight their way back. San Jose State has played a bunch of close games. I mean, Toledo's a really good football team. San Jose State had a chance to win that game. So Chevin Cordero is a really good quarterback, and he'll come in. He makes every throw, which obviously we've struggled with big plays. So we've got a great challenge there, which we're excited to come back from 2 weeks ago and play. And then defensively, I mean, their two safeties, Williams and Jenkins, are really, really athletic. They've got a Polynesian presence up front that Coach Brennan has done a really good job of recruiting. And I mean, in 2020, they went undefeated during the COVID season, and we actually had to share Sam Boyd Stadium for the last couple of weeks because they came into some issues that we ran through. They were gracious enough in 20 when we went there. We wore our home red uniforms, and they wore their blue home uniforms in that first game because that was supposed to be a home game for us, and we didn't play it. So they'll be in their home yellow uniforms, or gold, I guess they call it, on Saturday, and we'll be in our red home. So it'll be a great football game. I'm excited about the opportunity to go up against a good football team. I mean, I think our league from top to bottom is very competitive.
In preparing the defense for a guy like Cordero, as you mentioned multiple times, I mean, the longest tenure quarterback in the Mountain West. I mean, what are you focusing on in particular for what he does?
We have to make him hold the football. He's really dangerous with his feet. I mean, if you saw the second touchdown against Boise on Saturday, he ran over a safety and then beat a linebacker to the goal line. He doesn't necessarily want to run it, but he's very, very dangerous when he does. He does want to run the ball in critical situations, though. Third and short, fourth and short, where they'll run the zone read. Much like Dylan, he's not afraid to pull the ball. And like I said earlier, he can make every throw. I mean, he can throw the wide field out, which not a lot of quarterbacks can do. He puts the deep ball right on the money. As you saw early in that game against Boise, he did very well. I mean, he's the longest tenured. He's got the most starts right in front of Dylan in our league and has been very successful. So we've got a great challenge. And then plus, we've got to compress the pocket so that he can't just take wide scramblings and take off, because he is fast and he does good things. Now he keeps his eyes downfield, so he'll take off running and all of a sudden he'll throw it. So, I mean, he's a well-polished quarterback.
After talking to some of the players, I mean, it didn't sound like last week was exactly, a vacation for them.
Nope.
For you, what was the biggest, takeaway out of the bye week?
Obviously, I didn't think we tackled well against Wyoming, so we did a lot of that stuff. We'll never not coach effort being the top thing around here. I mean, we're going to have a football team that plays hard. I mean, feel free to ask Coach Bowl how their football team felt after that football game. It was a very physical football game. They did a great job of getting prepared to play Fresno, which was another great physical football game. That's just who we are, who we're going to be. And so it was. There were some guys, the Tavians and Alec Morenkos, who took limited reps during the week. Dylan took limited reps during the week. But it was an opportunity to get better and develop our football team, because right now it's us more than it is the opponent. We need to fix little things that give us a chance to be successful. And so we went really hard Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Coaches went out on the road recruiting Friday, Saturday. And then we got after it last night. I mean, on Sunday night, pretty good to give us a leg up on preparation for San Jose State, since they were flying back home from Boise from a tough loss. We used that extra day to hopefully our advantage.
And Coach, kind of piggybacking off that, coming off the bye week, I mean, what is the mentality that your guys are having, not just physical-wise, but what are they mentally tackling this season?
They're hungry to play and try and win a football game. I can tell you that. I mean, this group is resilient. Now, we have a bunch of kids that are not from here, more so than we've had in the past. So I know they enjoyed Saturday morning at the Balloon Fiesta, which was a great opportunity for them. They're used to being up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning anyway, so it was no big deal to them. They enjoyed that, but they're excited to play a football game on Saturday. It's a great opportunity. I mean, it's breast awareness, so you'll see some pink accents on the uniform and all that stuff, which is for a great cause. But they're excited to play. I mean, we had an opportunity in the game against Wyoming, and we're one stop short. And they're excited to go out there and play against a good San Jose State team.
San Jose State's been outscored 56-7 over the last 3 games in the second half. When you see, what are teams doing that can kind of stifle them that successfully in the second half, in your opinion?
Boise did a really good job with what they were doing in coverage in the second half. But the biggest thing in that game was turnovers. They turned it over 3 times in the first half, and they took care of the ball in the second half. When you can eliminate those, and if you get points off turnovers, it causes a big swing in the game. There was I think the critical point, and I talk about it every week, certain plays change the dynamic of a game. At 20-7, they've got an opportunity to make it 27-7, and they have a 3rd and 3. Boise made a great call on defense and had made Cordero hold the football, and they were able to get a sack. If they convert that, there's a chance they're going to be up 27-7, and that's a completely different scenario in the second half. But give Boise credit, they made a huge play on a 3rd down to get off the field on defense, and then they did a great job with Taylor Green and Madsen to move the ball down the field and get back into it. They've had a couple of those situations. They played Oregon State early really well. They played SC really well early in the first half, and then a couple of big plays in the second half. We had that issue a lot last year. We've got to come out and on both sides of the ball, we got to complement each other, and that was where they struggled on Saturday.
When you pair that with, I think you guys are averaging like 6.8 points per game in the second half, and guys have kind of preached like we need to be more complete in the full 4 quarters and it's the mentality truly just, again, we're trying to play.
Well, we did some stuff, absolutely. Fourth quarter is where your biggest plays come. It's where, UMass made a couple. We made the plays in overtime. The following week, Wyoming made 2 big plays in the second half. The 36-yard pass that was essentially a run that made us miss 6 to 8 tackles. And then the 46-yard run after a sudden change, after a turnover. We got to go out there and on sudden change and get it back off the field and get the ball back to our offense, and then also not turn it over. Those were 2 big plays in the second half to probably the best team in our league. We'll see Saturday. If Whaley's healthy, I haven't heard about his ankle. That's going to be one heck of a football game between Wyoming and Air Force. Plus, they're not too far from each other. The idea this week, and we practiced during the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, was break practice up into 4 quarters and finish with the right mindset in the fourth quarter. Take care of the football, get off the field on defense. If you do that, you have an opportunity to win. They've all been close games. We just got to come up with those plays in key opportune times.
They turn it over. They turn the ball over there. I think they're +5, +6, something like that. Do you see anything they can do ball hawk wise, or is they just the right place? What are they doing to force turnovers?
A combination of both. Some of it's luck. They did a great job. They were really aggressive on defense in the first half on Saturday and had some good collisions. One of them, ball bounced right to him. We got lucky. But you need some of that to, in opportunities and get those breaks. But they're really athletic on defense. I think, like I said, the 2 safeties, they're aggressive, they're downhill, they're long, they can run. And so they create some situations for the opponent's offense that puts them in vulnerable positions to get turnovers. And then up front, they're not huge, but they are really twitchy, and they're long. They're 230, 240. The 2 inside guys for Wyoming are 300 pounds. So they're built different, but they're every bit as tough and physical and twitchy. So it's a different challenge than what we had presented 2 weeks ago.
On that same note, you guys are kind of on the flip side, but just struggling to create those turnovers. How much of a point of emphasis has that been for you, just getting to the ball?
Huge. We've had 4 opportunities, interceptions, and have not come up with one. We've caused 7 fumbles and only come up with 2. We got the ball on the ground. We're not getting it when we get there. Once again, I think that's an effort deal. So we did a ton of that over the Tuesday, Wednesday practices to make sure that when we cause those things, we got to be able to get on them. It's a significant change in the game when you give your offense a short field. We've got to play harder to create those things, and that was a big emphasis this last 2 weeks.
You stressed the bye week's importance was to get a lot of guys healthy. I'm just curious where you guys are at.
Connor Whittoff will be a game time decision. Everybody else, we'll see. Luke practiced both the last 2 weeks, so he should be back that we've missed. Ja'Cory is probably getting as healthy as he's been since the beginning. Jeremiah looks as good as he's been since the beginning. Alec and Tavian looks as good as he's been since Texas A&M, which is a real positive. Alex knees a little bit sore, but nothing that will prevent him from. I mean, he played every single snap against Wyoming. He could potentially do that against San Jose State and be okay. So, I mean, I think the last 2 weeks has been really vital, more so for our O-line and D-line than anything else. I mean, those guys 300-pound guys running into each other on every single play. The 2 weeks of not having to do that full speed helps considerably.
What about Andrew Henry? Could he possibly take some of Dorian's carries then if he's back to full health?
We'll see Saturday. He banged up his ankle a little bit during practice. We'll see what he looks like on Saturday, but he could. Right now it'll be Bill and Sherrod will take the brunt of the carries, and then we'll see from there.
I'm assuming Diaco still has not been cleared.
It has not been cleared yet.
And then any long-term plans or decisions with Tulsa?
Sam had a procedure done today. Should be back hopefully here in the next couple weeks, and then we'll use his opportunity. He'll rehab for a couple weeks, and then we'll have 4 games to play this year, and then he'll still have an opportunity to play next season.
I'll kind of pair it off Brad's question too. Is it still kind of as if Christian Washington is kind of on the outside looking in? With obviously with Doran and Andrew not getting full speed reps, Christian got some full speed reps this week. So right now it's Bill and Sherrod are the ones that are practicing the best. Christian's put himself in that mix a little bit. We'll see Saturday.
Danny, I know with the pride you take in defense. What 5 games in? What's your defense's identity 5 games in?
We'll give up big plays. That's the frustrating part. It's not from an athletic stance. It's we got a bunch of young guys out there, inexperienced guys that are not making plays on 50-50 balls. The 2 against Wyoming bother me because we took really bad angles, and that's a. I mean, I'm gonna take the blame on that. We made a huge address of that the last 2 weeks in practice. You run to the ball, and running to the ball is not the problem. You have to run with a purpose. It's an intent to be aggressive and be violent and cause the turnovers and those things. They're running in the direction, but they're not running with that intent. And so that was a huge emphasis over the last 2 weeks. They run with the right intent and they take the correct angle. I mean, Wyoming had a hard time moving the ball in the red zone. We held them to 4 field goals. If we hold 2 more field goals, all of a sudden it's a completely different game instead of the 2 long runs. And then we've got to make some plays on 50-50 balls. With the 2 weeks to go back and self-scout and watch what we've done the past couple of years as to this year, we're big plays away from being where we were statistically last year. We give up a 6-yard touchdown on a 4-yard pass, and that's ridiculous in my opinion. The 46-yarder, we have them backed up in the backfield. We've had not as many sacks this year, but we had, and give Andrew Peasley credit too. I mean, we're playing against some good players. We had him wrapped up 4 times in the backfield, and he escapes, and instead they're not big plays, but instead of it being a 7 or 8 yard loss for us, it's a 2-yard gain or it's a 2-yard loss. We have to finish those plays, and you'll see a dramatic difference. But we'll see. We've made a huge emphasis over the week. We get an opportunity to go out there and do it on Saturday. So I'm excited for that.
Is the tackling issue a desire, or is this not understanding angles? Or?
Well, we haven't had a tackling issue up until Saturday. And I don't think we have a tackling issue. I think we had on 2 plays terrible angles. If you watch as the ball's coming on the 66-yard touchdown, as the ball's coming across, we got 2 guys coming from behind that take an angle right behind him as opposed to running to where he's going. I mean, those usually are opportunities. I would love them to throw a 2-yard pass in the flat every single time and then cut back. You cut back, most of the time you turn those into cause fumbles because you have guys coming from behind that they don't even see. We had 2 guys have great opportunities. One of them ran into one of their old linemen, and then they had a great one of them blocked Tavian, who was running with the right angle, made a nice play, effort play by them. The 2 on the sideline bothered me because we had them lined up on the sideline and miss. And then the one that we have Whaley wrapped up in the backfield for a 2-yard loss, and he gets out of, I think, our nose guard's hand. We don't set the edge. We have a safety come up that instead of running through the block, running right through the outside shoulder, he runs right down the middle of a guy. And a stalemate, the offense wins that every single time. Our idea is you go right through guy, use them as a bounce off to get to the ball. So if you don't have guys that are aggressive and you don't have guys, then it's a desire issue. We've got guys that are almost too aggressive. I mean, they're trying to run right down the middle of people as opposed to doing it like we do every day. So we did a ton of that stuff. You heard Brad talk about it wasn't much of an off week because the only thing you really get better at doing, the only way you get better at doing something is to actually do it. So sometimes you have to live tackle to get better at live tackling. So we had fun live tackling. Oh, yeah. I thought it was fun. They might not have.
Last week, I believe the NCAA Division I Council, they permanently dropped the new player limit for signing classes, and they reduced the transfer window from 60 total days to 45. I'm just curious if you have any thoughts on those changes.
I think it's an ever-evolving process until we figure out this whole thing. The interesting thing is when the whole transfer portal started, the student athletes wanted a wide range. They wanted all this freedom, and then all of a sudden they get bombarded. And so a lot of this is coming from the students wanting to shrink these windows also because they get inundated with stuff that they're not ready to deal with. It's a process that'll continue to grow as you move along. If they continue to hold up, now they made the one decision on Trey Walker, and I'm glad that they gave whatever they needed to make that decision, and they made it based off of that information. That's great. If they're going to stay strong as they have to those situations, I think the transfer portal is just fine. I think it gives kids opportunities. There's plenty of them that want an opportunity to play and might not have it where they originally chose, and that's fine. I think the separation between Power 5 and Group of 5, like I said, is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller because the Group of 5 schools are going to get a lot of those guys that aren't playing at Power 5 schools. I think that's a positive. We're going to continue to lose some of our best players to that. FCS is going to lose some of their best players to us. It's just a new evolving window. We went out recruiting this last weekend. Junior college football is getting outstanding because there's not as many high school kids signing football and they need somewhere to go play. There's a lot of 4-for-3 kids out there that you can treat like freshmen. Now, the downside of that is they come here, they have an opportunity to get in the transfer portal and leave for other opportunities. When coaches call them, the tampering, whatever aspect you want it, when coaches call them, I mean, it is what it is. They're going to have those opportunities. A kid like A.J. Halsey, I was frustrated with A.J. Halsey. A.J. Halsey probably made the right decision for A.J. Halsey and his family. He's a Houston kid from Houston. He's got a great NIL package from what I hear. I don't know exactly what it is, but he's playing really good at a high level. There's a couple other kids that have gone in the transfer portal that maybe it's not working out as good, but it gives kids opportunities. We're going to continue to adjust our model on how we recruit. I think we made a great adjustment to this class, and we're more talented. We'll continue to do that with the next class and the next class. And like I said, I think that's the reason the Mountain West Conference, which the Mountain West Conference is a great football league. Our athletic directors and our presidents are doing a tremendous job in continuing to build our league, with the Mountain West being the great emphasis of what's going to happen in the future. They're doing a great job. Our league from top to bottom, athletically and player-wise, is so much better. Now, that means anybody can beat anybody on any day in our league, which in the process of trying to get a team in the playoff next year or being in a New Year's Day Six Bowl, maybe it's not the best thing for our league, but it makes it for a heck of a game on Saturday. I mean, the one up in Wyoming and Air Force, that's two undefeated. They're two undefeated teams in league. Wyoming has one loss to Texas. Both those teams are, I think, they're the two best Group of 5 teams out there right now. Tulane and all those schools can say what they want. I think Wyoming and Air Force. I think Air Force is proven everybody they played, they're undefeated. Wyoming had Texas 10-10 in the third quarter, which is really frustrating that New Mexico had Wyoming with a 6-point lead with a minute to go, and they kicked the field goal instead of running out the clock because they might not stop us. I mean, that's how close our league is. So I'm really excited what Eddie and the rest of the athletic directors and President Stokes and Gloria, who's doing a tremendous job, are doing with the Mountain West Conference, because the Mountain West Conference is a great football, it's a great athletic league.
Anything else? You didn't want to bring up the no photo shoot? You didn't want to bring that one up?
Yeah, actually, I mean, do you have thoughts on that? Because I know that is a legitimate strain on staffers. I mean, kind of photo.
I think it's a really good idea, a really good decision by people who oftentimes make decisions and have absolutely zero involvement in what's going on. but there was enough the leadership of those groups, the football oversight committee, the Division I basketball committee that Eddie chairs, getting people like Eddie on those committees is so significant for all of college athletics. The photo shoot, what Frank is talking about and what Sean's talking about, on unofficial visits, you're not allowed to dress them up in costume and take pictures anymore. That was a process that starts in really March when the National Signing Day is over and goes up until the National Signing Day. Every weekend, you've got kids on campus that get dressed up in uniform, flags, swords, I mean, you name it, okay? And you have to set up an area, and it takes time from people. It takes time from staff. It takes time from coaches. And it's the world they live in, so you understand that the kids want to do it because it's look at me, look at how many likes I can get, look at all the clicks and all those good things. Everybody in the world does it. So if you don't, you miss out. Well, now you can only do it on the 7 official visit weekends in the fall and then the official visit weekends in May and June. That is really, really smart decision because there isn't enough time to make all of them. And now instead of saying no and them being like, well, I ain't going there, well, now you can't. So I think it was a great decision.
Did you watch any other games besides Fresno?
I did. I watched Oklahoma, Texas. That was a great football game. I'm a big Brent Venables fan, so I was glad to see him have success in that game. The Texas State Fair. I mean, that's a great. What I noticed most on Saturday, college football across America is unbelievable, and it's so much fun. And it's so much fun when you have a ton of people. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, I hope we have a ton of people on Saturday. We got all kinds of things going around here. The Balloon Fiesta. Come on out. You're going to see a great college football game. Come on out and cheer your Lobos and have fun. I mean, Eddie addressed it last week. We had some issues in New Mexico State. Give us the opportunity to have those issues again. We've got them fixed. So we'll go out there and have some fun and have a great crowd and all those wonderful things. It's what we aspire to do every single week and every single day.
Coaches, I know it's been a couple of years, but the Maricopa County decision to eliminate the Arizona JCs, you mentioned JCs and where you guys were going this past week. And there's like a Hohokam conference, but it's a lot of athletes. There are like 750 athletes total in those 4 schools, I guess. Where have they gone?
California. The majority of them are going to California junior colleges. Not as expensive as going to – now, if they get the opportunity to go to a Kansas or Mississippi or Texas where those junior colleges are full scholarship, they'll take it. But there's a ton of high school kids in Texas. I mean, just look at the state of Ohio, 163 Division I kids signed scholarships in 2021. 63 signed Division I scholarships in 22. So 100 players had to go somewhere. There is so many, and they're dealing with a lot of those problems that the roster issues. You've got, when you go in the fall and visit at the end of the season to visit a junior college in Mississippi, there might be 20 kids on that roster in January. Whereas now in the fall, they've got 115 kids. So there's a lot of movement at those levels, much like here. All those kids, Southern California Junior College is really, really good right now. So is the Bay Area. I mean, we had 4 coaches in California. We had 3 coaches in Mississippi. We had a coach in Kansas. We had a coach in Iowa, a coach in Pennsylvania. There's a great opportunity for a ton of really talented players, which is awesome. It's exciting. As soon as you heard that, we need a bigger budget to go nationally. Right? Ready? That's good. All right, go Lobos. Thank you.